Great morning, great morning, great morning. I am Nicole D. Jones, and I am just happy and grateful for another day. I'm happy and grateful for life. I tell you all the time, I don't take days for granted. I don't take you for granted. I come here every Monday to remind you that you are healthy, you are wealthy, and you are prosperous. Everything your hands go to touch, it must, it shall, and it will manifest, prosper, and grow great things because you are great. You're created in greatness. You're created with tenacity. You're created to lead. You're created to be the lender, not the borrower. You've been created to be above and beneath. You are everything that you could think and imagine, plus some. All right. So on this wonderful Monday, I'm just here to remind you of that. As you can see, I'm in the car. We are on our way. We had to do a burn and turn, but we are on our way back home. But of course, I believe in the vision and the purpose that Jehovah God gave me for, unless I just cannot, I will not miss a call. So I wanted to come, and I hope last week, if you guys have not been able to tap into this whole relational intelligence, we actually have been doing it for like the last 4 months. But every recording is up on the YouTube channel. I am Nicole D. Jones. Go back and listen. Go back if you can start from the beginning because it builds. Do that. That would be helpful. But if not, if you're feeling some kind of way, whatever, if a title catches you, go and listen to it. Because at the end of the day, we all need to be relationally intelligent. We need to be emotionally intelligent so that we can navigate through this fixed fight. Even though we already win, there are things that we have to be able to do. And we can't be emotional creatures, okay? We got to be purpose driven. We got to walk out our purpose because we understand that our purpose was created before he created the earth, okay? Jehovah God had your purpose already made in mind before he created everything that we can see naturally. You got to understand that your spirit with soul wrapped in this flesh. And this time through this journey is the pass through the final destiny, but it's already been predestined. Okay. So we got to get to a place where relationally we are healthy, emotionally we are healthy. This is why we see mental health on a rise. It didn't just start, it's just being magnified now because I believe that we're in a time where the enemy is just coming to play with the only battlefield that we know. There's only one, okay? He can only come and play in our mind. So when we become intelligent in emotions, in relationship, in stewardship, being a good steward over our soul, our journey looks so different because our perspective looks at it different. Okay. So I told you I wanted to wrap up relational intelligence. I want you to be able to go back, but I hope that you grabbed, and even today, I wanted us to be able to do questions, comments, and all of that, because I'm hoping that you grab first and foremost that you can only steward you. You're only responsible, and your responsibility is stewardship over your soul. So we can sit and we can learn how to identify with who's in our life, identify with who has access to us, identify with how we respond, how we react, how we love, how we treat people. Are we friendly? Okay. We started off over the last 4 months. It's been about what we have and what we perceive. But the foundation and the grip of it all is you've got to be willing to look at you. You've got to be willing to look at who you are. You've got to be willing to look at a good look at yourself, all right? Because being true to you is what's going to allow you to be true to others. If you lie to yourself and you deceitful to yourself, you can't be nothing but dishonest because you're not being true to you. So the way that we did it was breaking up. And we started that way because it's easier to see things before it is to see yourself. But even in the things that you choose to attract, the things that you choose to bring into your life, we've got to learn to take ownership. All right. That's how we become relationally intelligent, because the foundation of being relationally intelligent is that you have to be emotionally intelligent as well. All right. So I want, if anyone has a question, a comment, anything that they want to share or ask at this time, I did want you to be able to do that. I can't see y'all, so if somebody's saying anything, y'all gonna just have to unmute.
I have a question / comment.
Okay.
So last week I was watching the video where it talks about eliminating relationships that are not beneficial for you. And one of the things that you said was like, forget about the history. Like the old history is the old history, and the new history overbears the old history because of the new things that's been happening. But when I was watching it, and I totally agree with everything that was said, but how long do you think is that process? Like when you're eliminating the relationship, I know you said in the video, like it's not going to be easy, but it's just something that has to be done when it no longer serves you. But what do you think that process really looks like? Like how long?
If I'm honest, I think, well, one, it depends on you. But me personally, I don't think processes ever end. This is just me, because I feel like everything that we go through with purpose, and we go through for a reason. So even when we have to start transitioning things, or we have to start shifting relationships and people in our life, I think that things trigger us. Okay. So even like right now, we did a trip. We're coming back from Maryland now because of family emergency that's going on with Deja's family. Okay. But the reality is that triggers feelings, that triggers emotions, because there's history there. So you have to be, and this is why I think it's so important for us to have people in the right places with us, because we'll go into, when you have history, you have history. And if you have kids with someone, if it's blended families, if you still have contact with people, your past will still run into or go parallel or even cross your present and your future. So you have to be able to have those people in the right place, so that when these feelings, these emotions, or even these memories come up, you handle them respectfully. Like what's going on now has something to do with Kadeja's side of the family. But that I was a part of that family at one point. I am in a new family. I have a husband. So even going, of course, I'm excited to see Kendra. I'm excited to see Lil Leo. I'm excited. I mean, all of that. And because there have been different things that have transpired, it brings up feelings, it brings up emotions. But I had to be very intentional to stay in my lane, be respectful of my husband, be respectful of where I am now, be respectful of the people that are in that part of that journey that used to be mine now. So I feel like it never ends, but it's no different than me losing my dad. Like, grief is never going to end for me. But my grief is with hope. My grief is with joy. And there are days that is sorrowful. I mean, even anything that happens, it immediately triggers me to my dad, because my dad would have been in the car with us. My dad would have been taking us. My dad would have been right there. He knows the people involved. So I feel like the process never ends, but how it affects us and how we handle it is the thing that's going to change. If that makes sense.
It makes sense. Then my other question, do you think it's possible to build a friendship when you are trying to eliminate relationships?
Do I think it's possible to build a friendship when I'm trying to eliminate a relationship?
Yeah, when you ask the question back, it almost sounds silly, but if
No,
you just
I
want to
mean,
maintain
but here's
friends.
the thing. I think timing is everything. If I'm eliminating a person, we can't be friends right now. Not friends in the sense of, are we talking? Are we this? Are we that? You got to go through whatever process you're in, or wherever you're at. When I was going through a divorce, he was not my friend. Okay, he wasn't my friend. But as much that happened, I had to eliminate that relationship, but I did it as healthy as I could. So I did it with peace. I did it with joy. I did it with joy, 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 because the joy of the Lord is our strength. But I think when we think of joy, we think of, no, it wasn't like that at first. But I had to understand that it's a perspective. It's a posture. It's understanding that whatever's going on is going on. And if it has to be severed, it has to be severed. I kept joy in knowing that it was going to be greater later. And now, a decade and some later, I can see him and be like, what's up? Like it's okay. We're never going to be friends. See, because now you begin to understand friends are someone that you're allowing to be in that intimate space with you. Some people just can never get back there. But if they are in your life or you still have to deal with them, we don't have children together, but we have godsons together. So there are some things that we may have to interact with, but he is no longer a friend. He is an associate. We have something in common that we may run into, but he can't get back in that space. But I can still be like, hey, what's up? And it be no malice. But I do know that takes time. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So you just gotta, you gotta walk it out. If you know that there's someone you have to sever, um, and when I say sever, it's just moving them out of one space into another. You got to know what that means. You got to know what that looks like. You got to have a plan for it so that you can walk it out. And that's kind of what I was talking about last week, too. I kind of went through it fast because, time. But you have to have a plan. If it's someone that you have to move from one place to another with you, you got to have a plan because there's feelings there's emotions there. So you'll be drawn. You're not this hard cold person. And it's not like, it may be a relationship you don't even want to do it, you don't want to, but you know that you have to and you need to. So you got to hold on to knowing that it's going to be greater later, knowing by me adjusting this relationship is going to be healthier for me. And as I become healthy, that whatever that person will continue to be in my life will be healthier too. That's the process we got to go through. And over time, you get there because you begin to walk into that peace that'll surpass our natural understanding. I look for the peace. Everything that I do now, no matter what's going on, I look for peace. And I don't look for the peace that's going to always make sense to me. I look for the peace that surpasses my natural understanding, because then I know I'm wherever I'm supposed to be in this part of the process. No, good
That's
question.
good. That's good. I wanted to say that these sessions, I'm looking at them as tools. And you know how we have tools in our house. We don't need them every day, but when you need them, you can go in the closet and get them and use it for whatever need it is. And I believe that even just hearing the question that the young lady asked and your response, I'm hearing this is not a means to an end. It's a means to handle a process to live in peace with ourselves and those around us. So I'm taking it as tools to deal with the triggers, tools to deal with the processes. basically good tools to keep in your cabinet.
That's good. That's good. Anyone else have any questions, comments?
I did. Can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you choppy. It's a little choppy. You might be in a bad area, or I might be. Y'all can hear me okay?
Yes.
Or no? Okay. And I don't, in no way, first of all, I am not degreed. I am certified. I have taken like certification, life coach class and all that. But what I do on Mondays is really meal prep. It goes with the vision that God has given me. Because I believe, and meal prep is an acronym. It's mindset, education, accountability, lifestyle. I do believe that if we can learn how to get things under control in the only battlefield we have, which is our mind, right? If we can grasp that, as Sharifa just said, by having tools or nuggets, I call them nuggets, that we can kind of go back to just to kind of go through the process. We do it by educating ourselves, and education is not always through school. Education is anything where you're receiving wisdom and knowledge that you can apply to yourself. Then you have accountability. This is why we come on here every week. This is why I'm trying to, I am out of my comfort zone, and I'm putting it somewhere where you can go back to and look at it, because you want to stay accountable. You want to have people that when you're going through something or you're feeling some kind of way, you got somebody who's standing there with you, either to give you strength or give you a reality that you're not the only one, because sometimes that's what we go through. And I believe that if we begin to walk out that process in a healthy way, our lifestyle will show it. Our life will show it, because our life is predestined and it's already purposed. So we will walk more in line where we can pour out in a healthy way, but we can also receive all that it is that Jehovah God has for us too. So it's like a win-win. Miss Jacinta.
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Thank you. I want to thank you for all of this. But I was thinking about when you were talking about redefining relationships and, realizing what position or what role people are in your lives. And you were saying, how we should ask for godly wisdom and how to do that, instead of being like, oh, you cut off because you really an associate. I thought you was my friend and you're not my friend. So that really resonated with me, because I tend to get in my flesh and be like, oh, you cut off. Like, that's just it. But like asking God for wisdom and how to redefine those relationships or those roles, even like you said, if it's somebody that you have to interact with them for one reason or another, but how to navigate that and allow people to be in the right space so it's not hurting you or them. So thank you for mentioning that. That really helped me.
And then, I think by nature, we get caught up on words. And Angel, that's why I was saying to you, like, someone being in one place, going to another, is not up and down. And I've said this before, it's a cross. It's not one being in one is better than the other. But for you being a good steward over your soul, we got to understand that these places, it's that inner circle, that outer circle, and the outer gates, the outer courts. Okay. So, and right.
You're breaking up. We can't.
He is the perfect. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
We can
hear you now.
Okay. Everything
no,
I was saying,
but we didn't.
those bracelets, the bracelets WWJD. Like, Jesus is the perfect example. It's nothing that we face that he did not face. So if Jesus had to have the 3, the 12, and the 72 sent out 2 by 2, then we need to understand that we have the same thing. And we need to understand that every person is going to shift. Not one person stays in one bucket all the time, because life is lifey and life happens to us all. So depending on what we're going through, we shift. So you may be my friend and never stop being my friend, but you may not be the one I confide in what I'm going through when I feel some kind of way about my dad. But that doesn't stop you from being a friend. It's just not, you're not the advisor that I need in that situation or wherever I may be at that time. So as long as we're transitional and we're progressive, people are always going to be moving. And that's why, like, when you have to shift somebody, just be careful on how, even the words you use, categorize it, because words stick. And like Jacinta was saying, like, I cut them off. A cut off is just that, cut off. They're off. They're cut. But it's a mind, it's a perspective, and words are powerful. So we got to be careful even with words that we use, which is why it's so important to have people in the right categories with us, because the categories is just what defines how much of us we're willing to give to the person. Hopefully y'all can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. This is good. Anyone else? Anyone else?
When you were saying that, I believe also it's something that can be done, but not necessarily spoken. Sometimes when you're praying about the relationship to cut, sometimes God will allow them to go ahead and walk. Because you never know if that relationship, you never know if that relationship will come back, and you don't want to have to repair what your mouth said or your actions did, in just in case it does. You don't want to leave hurt. You don't want to, when I say burn bridges, you may want to burn certain bridges, but it's how you burn them in a way. Let God lead on how to do it.
And in anything that we're doing, and it's in one of those videos, I don't know, they all kind of run together. You know, in everything we do it from a posture of love. So this is why you have to take the time to pray. You have to take the time to know. You have to take the time to even think it through. You know, my kids will tell you, I'm always telling them, think the next thought. You always got to think the next thought, because even in having to sever something, your posture is always love. Like, it's always love. It does not matter. Even when someone has wronged you, dogged you, put their hands on you, abused you, this, that, and the third. In love, you can stop being the punching bag, be it if it's physical, emotional, whatever. You can have a posture of love because you are love. Okay? So your conversation will be defined in that way. Everything we do through a posture of submission to Jehovah God, and we do it in humility. Now, are some conversations, they have to be more direct? Absolutely. But they don't have to be disrespectful. To be direct does not mean you have to be disrespectful. You say what you need to say. You agree to disagree if necessary, and you walk away in peace and love. That's it. Even if the walking away, it has to be, we agree to disagree. And to Sharifa's point, because like I said, one of them videos, but when you're talking, some things you don't have to, you'll know which to address, which not to. And time plays all things out. Because some of those relationships that we have that we may have to adjust, the adjustment alone it'll take care of it. When you have to sever, I do feel like respectfully, there should be a conversation. But to Sharifa's point, sometimes even as you're preparing for the conversation, that person may just dip. But I'm the type of person, I believe in closure because, and when I say closure, it don't mean it have to be a closed door. I like to leave people knowing how I feel, good or bad, and I want to know how they feel so that it's just kind of like it takes away that space where the enemy could like come in and play with your mind. But that's just me. Some people are all right with it. I don't want to live a hypothetical life. I want to live a matter of fact life. The only thing that I want to strive for is my next step of glory. But I don't want to be over here like, I wonder and this and that. I can't do that. So my prayers to God, even when these things happen, is that he opened the opportunity, if it's supposed to be one, or that I'm able to get the answers that I need, even if it's just they come to me. Truth will find you if you're willing to see it. It will find you. Anyone else?
This is going to be my last because I know we're getting close to the end.
Oh, sure.
But I feel like with me, and this is something that I'm praying about, I feel like there's no in between. Either I cut you off and you're dead to me, like you no longer exist. And if I see you because you really do exist, then it's like you get the dry. Hey, bye, cool, keep life moving. Or we are cut off in a different way, like it's just a basic friendship. And that friendship, we still hang out, talk here and there and things like that. But I feel like with those type of friendships, it always grow into something else, or it always grow back into what it no longer needs to be. So then I find myself in a repeated pattern over and over again. I don't know how to find my middle. Either you dead to me or either we're friends. And then the friendship just rekindles.
Go back to the beginning of May and watch those videos. Start with however it starts, associate, advisor, friend, assignment. Go back there, Angel, and start. And the reason I say that, and this is good for, even if you're kind of picking through the videos, go to the back or go to the beginning. I think we started the last week of April. I kind of introduced this, but and the reason I say this is because hopefully by you listening and just really getting a clear understanding of people's roles with us, it'll start to shift your perspective and even your heart. Because the way that you're responding to people, and the reason I would feel let me just speak for me, because I'm the same. I was that way, and you're right. It becomes a repetitive cycle because we're doing it backwards. Just like I say all the time, I think I told the ladies, we're spirit with a soul wrapped with this flesh. But I think the problem is even when we think about solving problems, we solve problems from the flesh inward. We do it outward in instead of inward out. So you got to do the heart work. That's the hard work. And when you start doing the heart work, your mannerisms will change because you're not that person. You're not what you just described, how you handle things, not your original DNA, not your kingship. That's not how God created you. That's how the world has created us to be, but that is not your original creation. So I think if you go back and just kind of define people and start putting them in the right place, what's going to happen is, again, all of this is because at the end of this journey, no one's going to be standing there with us but us. And when we understand that we are responsible, we're the gatekeeper of our soul. What we do will change, but it's a process. So part and just kind of put people. I think a lot of times we deal with people based on the role that they have with us. Like if it's a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, a child, our children. Like we automatically put them in these places, and just because they're these people in our life don't mean that they're in that place. But we do it because, family, blood thicker than water and all these different things we do. But we're doing it outward in instead of inward out. So I think, like I said, this has been good for me because some major things have happened in my journey over the last 4 months. But being able to put people in the right place in my heart has helped me go through things where I can still walk out in peace and joy, from personal to arguments to death to family to friends. Just because I kind of go back, it helps people, my emotions, my feelings, my responses, and my reactions. So go to that, and then you can always call me and we can talk about it. Do that though.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. It's 10:31. Y'all know I never want to belabor your time. But this week, be intentional for yourself. Go back and listen to those videos. Go back and reassess yourself. Now that we've kind of gone through it, learning how to do it inward out, go back to that list that we did 4 months ago and just look at it from a new perspective, and what may have changed, what may have not, who needs to be shifted, who don't. But know that you're doing it for you. Ultimately, this is for you to be the best version of you unapologetically, doing it in a posture of submission and humility, never arrogance and pride. Okay, so this week, I want you to stay focused, stay humble, and stay positive, and continue to be the best version of you unapologetically. All right, so have a fantabulous rest of the week. Smooches.